toxic money beliefs can hold you back from building wealth. These limiting beliefs can be very subtle, and they are embedded in your subconscious and secretly work against you. Now, I say work against you because our beliefs shape the way we think, and that again shapes the way we act around money on a day-to-day basis, which then determines our financial success. So let's take a look at 5 common money beliefs that block you from wealth. I have struggled and still struggle with some of those beliefs myself. I will tell you how I overcame them in each section, and taking care of them or removing them definitely accelerated me building wealth and still keeps doing so. If we haven't met yet, I'm Sophia, a doctor from Germany, your doctor for financial health, or in this case, your financial mental health. And today I'm filming for you from Amsterdam. So when I was still a student, my mom supported me financially and she would transfer money to me every month. So that was basically my salary. And a few semesters in, I also started a side job, brought in some extra couple of €100 per month. Now I lived very frugal as a student. I tried to keep as much money as possible. And yet for some reason, I didn't really save it. And now that I think about it, it's weird not spending money on the one hand, but also not saving and investing money on the other hand. But at the time, I didn't really notice because it was just the way, we lived as students. But then I rediscovered my first money coach, Bodo Schäfer, and he said it is as easy to live off 90% of your income than it is off 100% of your income. And I realized that I was thinking this whole time, I don't earn enough money. I don't earn enough money to save, to invest. And this is the type of belief that makes you think that you are not able to build wealth. And I hear that often from people working in a job with a normal salary who think they cannot build wealth because of that. Because they have a salary, because the salary is not high enough, because there's nothing left at the end of the month. And the underlying belief here is thinking that there's not enough. Not enough money to save, not enough money to invest, not enough money to live. And this by definition is a scarcity mindset. And the problem is that thoughts like this also act as a justification. So people are justifying why they are not saving and investing. And that again prevents them to take the necessary action to build wealth. So what I did after I had that epiphany, I just started. I started to invest. And back in the day, I was still a student. I started with €50 per month. Now with €50 per month invested would have made me rich. It would get me close to 100K after 40 years of compounding. And that is calculated with a rather conservative return of 6% per year. But it did something much more important for me. It removed a blockage in my head. And the solution is to recognize that no matter your income, you always have enough money to save and invest. May it ever be so small, and to get into the habit of doing it consistently. Now, a childhood friend told me that years later after he had already been working. And he said this time, dealing with numbers is not my thing. And managing my money is also just not, it's not my thing. And this type of belief keeps you from knowing what the right actions are. Now, the unfortunate truth is that it's luck if we learn good money habits at home or not. I was very fortunate because I learned a lot of good money habits at home and also a lot of financial literacy. And additionally, I have a keen interest into the topic too, obviously. But either way, we don't want to leave our financial success to chance. And this belief at the end of the day also serves as a justification. I never learned this. This is not my thing. And the way to overcome this belief is to become aware that money management is something you can learn. Figure outable. Although you know that already because you're watching this video. Hit the like button if you agree with me. The story I told you before, when I was still a student and hadn't started saving yet, there was another mechanism at work there. And I've also seen friends in the beginning of their doctor careers say, I can always save later when I earn more. And this can be especially tricky because it's just the way it works, for example, for doctors as well. But at the same time, it's one of the biggest mistakes we can make when it comes to our personal finances. First, because time is our big lever in compound interest. So the later we start saving and investing, the less we will have at our disposal later on. And also the more we would have to save and invest in order to keep up. And second, the perfect moment for starting to save just never comes. And that is because of lifestyle inflation. It's where your costs automatically rise with your income. Because you will always find ways to increase your lifestyle, even if it doesn't feel like it. But the money does go somewhere. And in the end, all of this is just good old procrastination. Because it's so easy to keep putting the work off and then the years go by. So never forget, the best time to start is now. My first money coach, Bodo Schäfer, he used to tell this story. When he started out on his journey to financial freedom, he took a coach and his coach told him to set these really high goals. And at some point he said, you know, maybe having this kind of money isn't actually good for me. And for him, that brought up all of those beliefs that he had learned in his childhood and during his upbringing that he had subconsciously developed. Having a big fortune is bad for me. This belief can come from different assumptions and they are all fear-based. It can be the fear of losing money. It can be the fear of becoming a bad person, like a reckless spender, or someone arrogant, or that it will disconnect you from the people around you. Finding beliefs like this and transforming them into something positive will be a game changer in your financial journey. And the solution is to be grateful for what you've already accomplished. And when looking backwards, I can imagine that you will find that you actually became a better person when building wealth. You get more relaxed, you don't have to stress about money anymore. And because you have accomplished all that, you also become more confident. So find evidence that these beliefs are not true and also that money can do good. And you know, bad character traits are found in not wealthy people as well as in wealthy people. It doesn't have to do with the money. There's so many different factors that play into this. So recognize that money does good in the world and that also how you react to it is in your power. One of the books that influenced me most in my financial career was The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. And in the book he has this analogy of cars and everything related to cars and traffic. And he has this concept of basically three groups of people. One group are the sidewalkers. Those are the kind of people who are always one paycheck away from being broke. Then there are slow laners, which are people who work in a job, getting a degree and maybe also a degree on top of that to get, promoted into a better position and to save and invest all their life until they hit the million or more at retirement age. And then there are the fast laners, which are people who build businesses and become a millionaire fast. And what he defines as fast is less than 10 years. And then in his book, he basically describes on how to get onto the fast lane. So I read this book and I was like, oh my God, I'm a total slow laner. And up until this point for me, it was pretty normal to have this type of career path. I never considered or thought or knew really of anything else. The thought behind that was, I'm not the kind of person. And being attached to a certain identity, which this being a kind of person in this case is, can hinder you from building wealth. I personally decided for myself to switch onto the fast lane, to speak with MJ DeMarco's words, which is ridiculously hard, not gonna lie, and we still have to see how this all plays out. But the reason for me was not just to build wealth fast. It was also many other realizations that led to this decision. And simply being in a job per se doesn't mean that you cannot build wealth. I mean, my whole channel is about creating a system like that, a system that helps you to build wealth fast-ish and also reliably. And as you might have noticed, I don't offer you entrepreneurship as the only way. But the wrong identity can hinder you from building wealth no matter the source of your income. Let's say, for example, someone identifies with being working class or middle class, and in that environment, maybe it's normal to not systematically invest or to not pay attention to your career development. And then it can be hard for that person, for example, to actively work towards $1 million net worth. And what I just told you about identity also has to do with a fixed mindset. Carol Dweck writes about that distinction in her book Mindset, which means believing that circumstances are given and cannot be changed. And the solution is to, again, first find evidence. I personally found that once you see someone doing it, someone you can relate to, the barriers in your head just drop and you realize that you can do it too, no matter where you came from or what your current circumstances are. And then the next step is to simply do it. Simply put it into action. Because we build a new identity by simply doing the things the new identity would do. I have to tell you, money mindset and money psychology are just fascinating to me. Definitely one of my favorite topics. I would love to hear what blockages you found on your journey. Let me know in the comments if you identified one during this video. Also, subscribe if you aren't already. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.